how we all doing tonight? Okay, free food? Yes, thank you. Okay. So, I'm supposed to come up here and give my little spiel on what I thought today was like, fasting. And I'm gonna be honest, how many people thought it was a bad idea to fast today? Okay, this guy's honest, so vote for him. Anyway, this morning for me, my roommate actually called me at around 9:30 and was like, dude, you know, you should fast today. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just skip breakfast. So for me, personally, it wasn't a huge deal. I'm used to just nibbling throughout the day because I go from class to class to class to class. The second question here is, did fasting change your views on those who are suffering from hunger around the world? And to be honest, I could imagine, I can't imagine what it's like to wake up every day and just wonder, well, am I going to eat today or not? You know? Like with me, I'll just like, oh, I just wait till 4:40 and I have a free meal, I can stuff my face. Shanghai into speaking to a room full of people who want to pay attention. So, I'm part of Free the Slaves, and we're a group on campus that's focused on hunger disparity. This Hunger Week kind of ties to that, because imagine, you're not going to eat very well fed, working for nothing. Hey guys, that's not what I'm talking about. Alright, anyway, so I think it's kind of terrible that we live in the land of plenty, and I mean, I come from a small rural town, so I'm surrounded by corn 9/10 of the year. And I think it's kind of terrible that, I can see that around my house and at the same time knowing that somewhere else someone is starving because drought or whatever. And that's my 2 cents on it. Thanks, everybody.
For sharing that with us. Can I have Tahira come up now?
Good evening, everybody. I am a grad student here at Mulla, and I'm studying chemistry. So first, what did I think of fasting? I was walking to Planner Hall and I was stopped by some students, and then they explained to me, the whole idea of pretty much not eating for the day. And I always hear about people fasting for a whole month, and I thought that I could never do it. And I thought that it'd be okay for me to just do it for one day. So I ate dinner last night at 8 o'clock, so I didn't eat until just now. I didn't drink anything, and it was very, very different. And I didn't really think about how many times I actually eat in a day. Probably every 2 to 3 hours, I do eat a lot. So it did occur to me that I do have the pleasure of eating a lot of food. And then did fasting change my views of those who are suffering? It did, because a lot of times when people bring up problems out of the world, a lot of people, they say they're sorry and they really empathize, but you don't really know how it feels to actually go hungry. And it was really driving me nuts that I couldn't eat for one day. So I could not fathom going days or even weeks without eating. So it really gave me just a small little glimpse of how people actually feel when they do go hungry. So this really opened my eyes. And I was very grateful to actually get a chance to participate in this with you guys. And I thank you for opening my eyes to this.
Thank you, Tahira. Can I have Michael come up now?
Go, Mike. eating sandwiches or having their cup of coffee. It was just completely normal and something that I would do too. But when you are one of the have-nots, to see other people who have, it really drives it home, and it made it a lot more poignant when you saw other people having those things and having so much of it, and then it really makes you think about how would we take for granted by getting a cup of coffee and having a meal and knowing that it is going to come there, and so that kind of solidarity with poor, impoverished, and people who are needy in the world really drove home. But then also, as a Catholic and as like a Loyola student, to come together with the Muslim community here at Loyola to fast like you guys do in Ramadan, that's also really cool and really interesting. And it's nice to know that people are everywhere and we can have a lot more in common than you think. And so,
Thank you for sharing that with us. Can I have Stacy come up now?
So I actually heard about this event through some friends of mine here on campus about a week ago. And when we first started talking about it, I was like, sure, I can fast, for a portion of the day. It's no big deal. Plenty of people do it all the time, and unfortunately, there are thousands of people who go through this on a daily basis. I'm actually an elementary education major, so I have the luxury of being in the classroom currently with students. And little did I know that a lot of my own students come to school hungry and don't always know where their next meal comes from. So I found myself throughout the day feeling extremely guilty, knowing that I'm going to come here with all of you, break my fast, and be able to enjoy all the good stuff I have at home too. So it really brought a lot of insight to me that I'm very fortunate to be in the position that I am, even as a college student. And so I can't even imagine what it must feel like for my own students and people all over the world to not know whether or not we're going to eat or when the next time they can. And I really admire those of you who actually can go and do an entire fast for months and weeks at a time. So today was a really great experience, and I'm very thankful that it was very fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy, for sharing that with us. Now I'm going to call Brian up to share his experience.
Hello everyone, my name is Brian. I'm a chaplain in campus ministry here, and I get the honor and privilege of being an advisor for MSA, and so I figured I would participate in the fast as well today. And I was actually up in Madison this morning. I was giving a talk, and so I was driving back, listening to the radio, trying not to think about food because I was in my car for 3 hours and kind of hungry. But I kept, every mile I would see a sign at the exit to get off from McDonald's or Burger King or whatever fast food you could think of. And I was like, I'm not hungry, I'm not going to think about it. But the whole time I was thinking about it. And what I was really thinking about is how privileged we are to have all of these fast foods every other mile. But then I was thinking about how crappy that food is for you versus all the great food we're eating tonight. And so it's not just about fasting and breaking that fast, but it's how are you breaking that fast? And I think we should look around and see the great community that is created around this good food and this good company. And that's where the real privilege of this day is is that we not only had the privilege of taking a break from eating, but then we had the privilege of coming into community, talking to one another, talking across faiths with one another, and that just really makes me really excited to be on this campus working with you all. So thanks. Look forward to next year.
Thank you, Brian. So tonight you will hear from our guest speaker, Ahmad Rahab, on giving back to the community. Ahmad Rahab is an American Muslim activist and writer with a focus on contemporary social issues, including civil rights, media relations, and Islam-West relations. Ahmad Rahab holds a master's degree in software engineering from DePaul University and a bachelor's in psychology from the University of Illinois. Ahmad Rahab is currently the executive director of CARE Chicago, a civil rights and advocacy organization which under Rahab's tenure has developed from a startup into one of the most notable nonprofit civil rights offices of its kind anywhere in the United States. With no further ado, please help me in welcoming Ahmad Rahab.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings be upon you all. It is an honor for me to be amongst this wonderful, quite large gathering. I'm surprised actually by the number of people who are here. I almost missed coming here because Lakeshore Drive is shut off from the LUC where I work, pretty much 5 miles down south. Finally, I was able to go through a barrier, pull off some Egyptian driving, and get back on Lakeshore and make it here. I'm really glad I did. I voted earlier today. I have my very proud badge. I hope that everybody here voted as well. And as soon as I'm done with this, I'll be going over to a rally with Senator Dick Durbin to celebrate the immigrant vote and the Latino vote and to push for immigration reform. And after that, I'll be heading over to McCormick Place for the Obama campaign. And tonight, you kind of guessed who I voted for. So it's a very busy day, and I'm glad I was able to come here in the middle and speak to you about this very important event. Now, to get to the topic at hand, you guys who are not Muslim, you fasted with us in an act of great civil nature to experience what your Muslim friends go through. So why do we fast? Why do we Muslims fast? Well, we fast to experience, part of the reasons, is to experience what the poor go through. What those, as Michael mentioned, the have-nots. What it feels like. It's one thing to know. It's another thing to feel. That's one of the reasons. But to give you the other reasons, let me back up a little bit and give you the overview of the spirit of Islam, because this is what this is really about. The spirit of Islam. If I may ask those in the back who are still kind of whispering and talking to shut up completely so others can hear as well. Thank you very much. Now, what does Islam mean? Anybody want to take a shot? Let's make this more interactive. You've been sitting here for a while and you were hungry all day. I don't want to just sit up here and keep on talking on my own. What does Islam mean? Anybody take a shot at it? Simple definition of Islam. Go ahead. To submit. Submit to whom?
To God.
Submit to God. Well, it means willing submission to God. It's something that you do out of your own free will, that you make a determination that there's a creator, there's a God, and that you want to live the way